Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm Darkjack, and in this video I get 40 kills on the map Meltdown in Black Ops 2 with a nuclear medal as well. And in this video what I want to talk about is the Xbox One's lack of backwards compatibility and why I'm not very happy with it. Now, Don Matrick, who is the president of the Xbox division at Microsoft, said to the Wall Street Journal concerning backwards compatibility, "If you're backwards compatible, you're really backwards." So my question for Mr. Matrick then is, does that mean that the Xbox 360 was backwards? Because the 360 was backwards compatible with the original Xbox games, but the Xbox One will not be. I'm not going to understand why it is not backwards compatible, because it would have driven up the price of the console, because including the Xbox 360 SoC would have driven up the price. But because it does not have backwards compatibility, that means that the next generation is going to have a very small game library. Because whenever you have a next-gen console coming out, the game library that it has is very small. And so by having backwards compatibility, that allows players to move on and to have a clean break with the previous generation, because they can still play their entire game library on it. And a lot of people criticize the Wii U because of its small game library. But people forget that the Wii U is backwards compatible with Wii and GameCube games. Even with a small game library, if you include the Wii U games together with GameCube and Wii, it actually has a decent sized library, even if the games are out of date by our standards. And whenever you move on to a new console generation, there's always a period of transition where the graphics of the early games don't look nearly as good as the graphics of the later stage. And so now if you compare the graphics of Grand Theft Auto 4 with Grand Theft Auto 5, there's a giant leap, as well as Halo 3 to Halo 4. And so there's going to be a period of transition where the games that come out for next-gen consoles are not going to look that much better than current-gen ones. And so having backwards compatibility really helps in that area as well. And people who have large game libraries are much less likely to buy it, because these are the big spenders that you need on board. And if people have a big game library, they've invested a lot of money in their past games, and because of that, they're less likely to move on because they don't want to give up their investment. And you need these people the most because these are the people that spend a lot of money on games and consoles. And because people have large back catalogs of games that they haven't played yet, they're going to wait until they finish all of those before they move on to the next generation. And as a result, it's going to slow down the adoption process. So there's going to be a much longer adoption period for next gen than current gen. Because with this gen was backwards compatible with last gen, both on Xbox and the first version of the PS3. But for next gen, it will not be, except on PS4, they will have live streaming, but we don't know how that's going to work out yet. So the adoption process is going to be much longer. So it's going to take several years for most of the people to get on board with the program. And the hardcore gamer that you're depending on to buy the console is going to be alienated by this, because casual gamers do not spend lots of money on new consoles. It is the hardcore gamer, that person is the one who spends lots of money on consoles, because they are the ones who are willing to do that, because they are gamers at heart. They are not television watchers at heart. They are gamers, and they are big spenders, and they want to spend a lot of money on games because that is how they have the most fun, not by watching TV or anything else that you think is going to draw people in. Also, if it was backwards compatible, people would be able to trade in their Xbox 360 toward the purchase of an Xbox One, so that would give them a price point advantage over Sony. So by not being backwards compatible, you are alienating your early install base. And because of it, it is very easy for people to switch over to the PS4, because their game library doesn't work on the next generation anyway, and so it's easy to have a clean break from this generation to the next, because their library doesn't work anyway, so they might as well just get a new library. Also, your digital titles will not carry over as well. If you downloaded a game over Xbox Live, it will not work on PS4. And I wonder, when those games are re-released on Xbox One, will people who bought them on the Xbox 360 be able to download them for free, or will they have to pay? And the reason why Microsoft is doing this is so they can double dip on sales, so they can sell Halo 4 twice, because they know lots of people are going to buy Halo 4 for the next Xbox, so they'll buy the game twice. Because Halo 4 sold over 8 million copies, and they're betting that lots of people are going to buy it again. So that's basically a free game for them. And I think the reason why they've done this is because they've chosen Connect rather than backwards compatibility, because if they had both of those things, the console would be too expensive. but they've chosen Kinect instead. So not only can I not play my entire game library, but instead I have to have this always online, always on 3D camera looking at me for visual DRM. That completely messes up my LG gaming setup because I sit directly in front of my LCD monitor instead of in the living room. And what that tells me is that Microsoft is not concerned about the hardcore and the core gamers that play games not in their living room, but instead at desks where the Kinect does not work. So what about gaming tournaments? If the Kinect is required in order for the Xbox to work, why couldn't someone just in the audience just say, Xbox go home, and mess up the event? Also, the console is not backwards compatible with your accessories either, so my Astra headset, my SCUF controller, and my HTTP VR do not work with the Xbox One, so I'm going to have to buy a whole new headset and a whole new recording device and a whole new controller. And because of this, E3 cannot come soon enough. I want to see these exclusive games, and I want to see what Sony has to offer, and whether or not Sony is going to go the same direction and require the PlayStation Eye. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later.